Welcome to the Airvolt Deep Dive, the series where we break down the convergence of climate technology, digital media, and verifiable accountability.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So you sent over this really interesting stack of documents.
Yeah.
And they connect two things that honestly seem totally separate at first glance. We're talking toxic air in cities, huge health crisis, and then digital ad fraud, like billions lost.
Yeah, it does seem like a bit of a leap, right? But when you dig underneath, the common thread is really trust, or the lack of it.
Lack of trust. How so?
Well, think about it. In public health, especially air quality, we often lack truly verifiable accountability. And in digital commerce, particularly advertising, we lack reliable verification.
Oh, okay. So opaque metrics, dodgy data, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Both areas suffer from that. It's hard to know what's real.
Got it. So our mission today, then, is to dive into one specific, pretty high-tech solution trying to tackle this, Airvolt's AMPS network.
Right, AMPS. It stands for Air Monitoring and Purification System.
And this system, it basically combines air purifiers, hyperlocal sensors, and street-level advertising screens.
That's the core idea. And the glue holding it all together, the accountability layer, is blockchain.
Blockchain, okay. And the big concept we're trying to decode from these sources is something called proof of impact, POI.
Precisely. Proof of impact. That's the key takeaway.
All right, let's start with the problem, the human cost. The World Health Organization figures we saw are just, wow. Air pollution linked to over 7 million premature deaths every year.
It's staggering. And it highlights what the sources call the air quality accountability gap.
Explain that gap a bit more.
Sure. So traditional air monitoring, it's usually pretty sparse, maybe a few official stations for a whole city, often expensive to run. This leaves huge areas, like massive spatial blind spots, where people just don't have good data.
Especially near busy roads or industrial areas, I imagine.
Exactly where it matters most. So most communities lack that real-time, reliable info on what they're actually breathing day in, day out.
And like you said, there's a trust issue too, right? Even with official data.
Absolutely. People often wonder, are governments downplaying the numbers? Are companies just greenwashing with selective ESG reports?
Without transparent real-time data, it feels like communities are kind of flying blind.
Powerless, really. And that exact kind of accountability failure, it has a twin in the financial world, specifically in advertising.
Okay, pivot to the ads. You mentioned digital out-of-home, those big screens everywhere.
Yeah, DOH, it's a huge market, over $40 billion, and growing fast.
Yeah.
But it's got serious trust issues. It's fundamentally broken in some ways.
Broken how? What can't advertisers trust?
Well, the basics, really. They struggle to verify, number one, if their ad actually ran on the screen they paid for.
Seriously, just whether it was shown.
Yeah. And two, if the audience numbers, the impression counts, are genuine or just, inflated.
Okay.
And third, this is increasingly important for ethical brands. They can't easily verify if their sustainability message was paired with any real environmental action, like Airvolt promises.
And the scale of this ad fraud, the number in the report was nearly $120 billion globally in 2022.
That's the estimate. $120 billion. It's a monumental waste, just draining money out of the digital economy.
Okay, hold on. So Airvolt's plan, and it's basically trying to pay for cleaning the air, a public health good, by fixing this incredibly dodgy, fraud-ridden advertising market. That sounds ambitious, like building on quicksand.
It does sound ambitious, yeah. But that's kind of the core insight here. The system only works financially if the trust in the advertising data becomes as solid as the trust in the air quality data.
I see.
You have to make both verifiable, fix both problems, or neither part of the plan really holds up.
Okay, that makes more sense. So let's unpack this integrated solution then, the AMPS device, air monitoring and purification system. You said it's like a triple threat?
Yeah, pretty much. 3 essential functions packed into one unit you'd see in the city street. Function 1, air purification. Actual filters, HEPA, activated carbon, UVC light cleaning the air around it.
Okay, the hardware doing the cleaning.
Function 2, air quality monitoring. Built-in IoT sensors, grabbing that real-time, super local data, block by block, potentially.
The data piece we were missing. And the third part.
That's the digital out-of-home signage, the screen. It serves up the ads that generate revenue.
Right, the funding engine.
But it also displays public info, like the current air quality readings from its own sensors.
Okay, clever integration. But now, the blockchain part, why bring that in? It seems complex.
It is complex, but necessary for the trust issue. They need blockchain for its unique features. Think Immutability. Once data is recorded, it can't be secretly changed by anyone. Not Airvolt, not the government, nobody.
Okay, tamper-proof records. What else?
Decentralization. It removes the need to trust one single company or authority. The network validates itself.
Spreads the trust, kinda.
Exactly. Then there's transparency. The records, or at least proofs of them, can be audited by anyone who needs to.
Publicly verifiable.
And finally, programmability. Using smart contracts. These are like little programs on the blockchain that can automatically enforce rules, like checking if an ad ran and then releasing payment.
Automating compliance and payments. Got it. But wait. Sensor data is huge, right? Putting all that raw data on a blockchain sounds slow and really expensive.
That's a key technical challenge they address. And you're right, you can't put every single sensor reading on chain. It wouldn't work.
So how do they handle it?
They use a smart hybrid approach. So the full data sets, all the detailed sensor readings, they live off-chain, stored securely in distributed systems, maybe something like IPFS.
Off-chain, okay. So what goes on the blockchain?
Proofs, hash proofs, specifically. Think of it like a unique digital fingerprint or a receipt for the data and the action. They use efficient methods, like layer 2 scaling, to record these small cryptographic proofs onto the blockchain relatively cheaply and quickly.
Ah, okay. So the chain holds the undeniable proof, the receipt, while the big data sits elsewhere, linked securely.
Precisely. It balances security, transparency, cost, and speed.
And that whole setup enables this new idea they talk about. Proof of impact, the PROI.
PROI.
So it's not just data logging, it's a cryptographic guarantee that X amount of pollutant was removed, Y volume of air was clean, and Z ad was played. All linked.
All linked. All aggregated into one verifiable, immutable record on the blockchain. It sets a whole new standard for transparency, moving beyond just making claims.
To delivering proof.
Verifiable results. That's the goal.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Connecting this tech to the actual stakeholders. Who benefits and how? This isn't just cool tech. It seems designed as a mechanism for like civic and commercial exchange.
Absolutely. Let's break it down. Take governments and city regulators. For them, this offers verifiable proof of environmental compliance, like air quality standards, and it potentially lowers their enforcement costs.
Right. And the data itself.
That hyperlocal data is gold for city planning. You get these detailed block-by-block pollution maps. Imagine using that to decide exactly where to put a new park or route traffic or target low-emission zones. Real data-driven decisions.
Okay, makes sense for cities. What about the advertisers and brands, the ones paying for the ads?
They get huge value. First, they solve that trust problem we talked about.
Yeah.
They get immutable proof of play certificates, cryptographic proof their ad actually ran.
Bye-bye. Ad fraud, potentially.
Or at least a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
And the smart contracts can automate the payments, making settlements faster and more reliable.
And the ESG angle. Environmental, social, governance.
That's a big one. For the first time, a brand running a campaign focused on sustainability.
Yeah.
They can get a certificate that proves their ad spend demonstrably funded the removal of, say, X grams of particulate matter from the air at that specific location.
Wow. So it moves ESG from just like marketing buzzwords
to certified, audited environmental impact metrics linked directly to their spending. That's a game changer for credible sustainability branding.
Definitely. Okay, who else? What about the actual citizens and communities living there?
For them, the primary benefit is transparency and empowerment. Access to that live, hyper-local data through public dashboards or apps.
So I could check the air quality on my street corner right now.
Potentially, yes. This reduces that information gap between officials and residents. It allows communities to advocate for themselves using hard, immutable data. The sources call it citizen science.
Using undeniable data for public health lobbying. Powerful.
And they highlight a specific application, clean corridors, focusing these AMPS units around sensitive places like schools or health clinics.
Protecting vulnerable groups with targeted clean air zones. I like that.
It makes the benefit very tangible.
Okay, final group. Investors and ESG stakeholders, what's in it for them?
Clearer returns and reduced risk. They can see verifiable ESG impact through those PIPOI metrics we discussed. That provides accountability for their investment.
And the dual revenue.
Right. They benefit from the potential returns from both the advertising revenue stream and from the licensing or sale of the verified environmental data generated by the network. It diversifies the financial model.
Okay, that paints a compelling picture for everyone involved. Let's zoom out a bit. If we connect this to the bigger picture, what's the scale we're talking about financially?
Well, the markets this sits between are massive. You've got the smart city and environmental data market, predicted to hit something like $50 billion by 2030.
Okay.
And then the digital out-of-home ad market, aiming for over $60 billion by then.
Yeah.
Airvolt is essentially positioning itself at the intersection, trying to capture value by fixing the trust issues in both. It's a multi-billion-dollar opportunity if they get it right.
And they have a token, right?
Yeah.
AVT.
Yeah.
The documents mention its utility.
Correct. The AVT token isn't just for speculation. It's designed as the functional currency of the ecosystem.
How so? What's it used for?
Several things. Accessing or licensing the verified data streams, settling payments for the DOH advertising slots, maybe even rewarding citizens for engaging with the platform or contributing data.
Okay, transactional uses. Anything else?
Yes, and this is crucial. Governance. Token holders are intended to have a say in how the network evolves, voting on protocol upgrades, or maybe even helping set the ethical standards for what kinds of ads are allowed.
Community governance through the token. Interesting.
It's a key part of the decentralization aspect.
What really stood out to me, though, was how they explicitly tie this whole commercial setup back to global goals.
Right.
The UN Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs.
Yes, that's quite deliberate. They list specific key performance indicators, KPIs, linked directly to certain SDGs. It's not just lip service. They're building measurement into the system.
Give me an example.
Okay, take SDG 3, good health and well-being. Their KPI tracks the actual measured change, the delta in pollutants like PM 2.5 and nitrogen dioxide at the AMPS locations compared to areas without them. Hard science metrics.
Verifiable health impact.
Right. But maybe even more important structurally is the link to SDG 10, reduced inequalities.
How does that fit in?
Their stated intention, outlined in the docs, is to prioritize putting these AMPS units in neighborhoods that are already overburdened by pollution and often underserved by investment, areas where exposure is highest.
So focusing on environmental justice.
That seems to be the goal. They even have a KPI for it.
Yeah.
Tracking the percentage of units installed in these designated priority or equity zones.
So the system is designed, at least on paper, to ensure the clean air benefit goes where it's most needed, not just where ad revenue might be highest.
That's the framework they've laid out. It's a critical commitment.
Of course, it sounds great, but there must be challenges. What did the sources say about the road ahead, the potential hurdles?
Oh, absolutely. They're quite open about them.
Yeah.
On the technical side, things like maintaining sensor accuracy and calibration over time is a constant challenge. You need reliable data.
Makes sense. What else?
Ensuring the blockchain part, the layer 2 solutions, remain scalable and cost-effective as the network grows. And, the energy consumption of blockchain tech itself is always a background concern they need to manage.
Right, the energy footprint. And non-technical challenges.
Big ones there too. Governance and regulation. How exactly will their AVT token be classified by regulators? That's a minefield globally right now.
True.
And managing those community governance aspects effectively, especially setting and enforcing ethical advertising standards, that requires robust processes and could get contentious. It's a real balancing act.
Between the commercial drive and the community, or ethical considerations.
Exactly.
Okay, so what does this all mean? Pulling it together after this deep dive. It seems the core idea is that Airvolt is trying to fix two broken systems, air quality accountability and ad verification, by building trust through transparency.
That's the central thesis, yeah. Transparency powered by blockchain drives trust.
And that trust, in turn, makes the whole thing financially viable, allowing the advertising side to fund the public health side.
Right. They've created this platform that generates a verifiable, immutable record for essentially every breath of air cleaned and every ad displayed.
Yeah.
It bridges climate tech, public health, and digital media in a really novel way.
Okay, so final thought then. Provoke us a little.
All right. Well, consider the funding mechanism itself. The entire system, especially its ability to deploy in those high-need, underserved areas. Remember, SDG 10 relies heavily on advertising revenue and the value of the AVT token.
Right. The clean air is paid for by the ads and the data value.
Precisely. So the public health benefit is intrinsically linked to the commercial success. Now, the documents talk about community governance and equity frameworks for deciding where to place these AMPS units.
Prioritizing the pollution hotspots.
That's the plan. But here's the tension. How robust will those community governance structures really be in practice? How effectively can they ensure deployments consistently follow the equity goals?
Instead of just chasing the highest advertising dollars in wealthier areas.
Exactly. Will the system truly prioritize the underserved communities as designed, even if those locations offer lower ad revenue? Or will commercial pressures inevitably pull deployments towards the most profitable spots?
That's a fundamental test, isn't it?
It really is. It's the ultimate test of whether this new accountability paradigm can genuinely balance profit with equitable public good. Something to watch very closely.
Thank you for tuning in to our deep dive. Join our mission to breathe better ads and improve air quality in cities across the globe. Until next time,